All right, good evening. This is Roleplay Cafe. We have Dell, David below there on my screen, and of course, I'm not the presenter, but it says presenter, but I'm the GM of tonight's Symbaroum Session 8. The title of this session, Those Against Blackmoor. There has been much fallout from the disappearance of Rigel, one of the chief businessmen of Blackmoor, Tent City, who unfortunately was a criminal and corrupt. And when he vanished, the Queen's legation took advantage of the opportunity to go in, acquire his assets, investigate, and many people were imprisoned, fined, taxed, and it created such a movement thanks to Count Agnar. I think his name is Agnar. He
Hmm.
is the father of the Queen of Thistlehold, Sariah, and persuaded the Queen, Corinthia, to pass the unincorporated treaty. This unincorporated treaty basically punishes Blackmoor, adds more taxation to legitimate businesses and treasure hunters, and effectively stops Blackmoor's opportunity to become a legitimate city, really putting pressure on Baron Garofalo. So that's kind of the situation. Our Malleus character here, David, you have been fined and taxed, found guilty by having forged evidence that you were working for him with forged papers. For what
Yeah.
that was worth to your character in in the under the Justicar, they didn't care what
Yeah.
and you were
Yeah.
fined and punished. Your relationship with the Queen's Chamberlain, Teresa, he came forward and paid
Hmm.
all the fines, all of the taxation on you and Taro, etc., and has given you use of his townhome, the party, use of the townhome in Thistlehold. You have all had to work
Hmm.
at odd jobs, again, because you're having trouble getting legitimate work in what you do well for any number of reasons, partially because of the publicity you received as treasonous usurpers of Thistlehold's legitimate claim. You do have copper rings where you can reside and work in Thistlehold. You have been banned from Davokar, Malleus, Taro,
Oh wow.
Shig, who has vanished. Nobody knows what happened to Shig. And
Hmm.
Vicamir, again, you have all been banned from your opportunity to legally traverse Davokar. So you can't get
Hmm.
an explorer's license. Of course, you can illegally go into the Davokar, but you would have
Hmm.
no legal. Again, in the arms of the Queen's Rangers, etc., you would have no legal recourse.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what brings us here. It's been 45 days since these events have occurred. You find yourself alone in the home at 4 a.m. as banging on the front door of the townhome, Malleus, you are awakened by this noise at 4 in the morning. All of your contemporaries are off, whether they're off working somewhere or they're out
Hmm.
carousing at taverns or whatever. None of your colleagues are here in the townhome with you
Okay.
as of yet.
Uh, Malleus jerks awake. I guess in a unfortunately or fortunately a drunken stupor. He kicks his feet off the cot that he was lying on and uh, kind of uh, holds the wine skin uh, in his hand up to kind of feel the weight of it. And with kind of a disgusted groan because it's pretty much empty, he basically tosses it down. Uh, the knocking occurs again, and he yells, "Hold on, damn your eyes! I'm coming!" And he reaches or steps over to I guess, a table next to the cot, which has a what would you call it? I guess like a deep wooden bowl in it with questionable water in it, and he sticks his face in the water and just basically rinses his face off, shakes his head, sending water all over, and then walks noisily towards the door. If there is a not a peephole, but what would you call it? A a little. little small
Hmm.
door, so you can.
Sure.
I have no idea what to call that, but
Yeah, I mean, it
it's
would
kind
be, yeah, I mean,
of a peephole,
absolutely.
but yeah, yeah. He
Um,
kind of opens it up and peeks out, see who's making all the racket.
you see quite a bit below the door, a fairly short. Um, you see two larger figures off in the street, further away from the door. Uh,
Hmm.
they're not facing the door; they're looking down each direction of this early morning. Obviously, 4 in the
Hmm.
morning, pre-dawn.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
very foggy, and as you peek down, you have to kind of stand on your toes to look through the hole and down, and you see turning toward and looking up. You can just make out it is Squire Hulse. And you know
Oh,
Squire Hulse as he has been the chief courier that's delivered missives from the from agents and from the Chamberlain over this 45 days. You've gotten to know Squire Hulse. You've met him maybe 3 times, but you've gotten to know him.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
and he looks up, and when he hears it slide open,
Hmm.
he looks up. Malleus, Malleus, it is Hulse. Let me in.
I see who you are, boy. And I will open the door and just fling it open and turn
Mm-hmm.
and walk towards a wooden table in the middle of the room there
Okay.
that has a another perhaps another pitcher on it, and I'll sit down with a plop and pour some slosh some wine out of the pitcher.
Okay. Hulse follows you in, shuts the door behind him. He reaches up. He's only 5'7". He's
Hmm.
roughly early 20s. Um, very weathered as he spends his life
Mm.
outside.
Hmm.
Kind of crepey skin, very tan. He has thick brown hair. Wears a
Hmm.
bowl cut, and he wears very high quality travel garb, but it is old. I mean, this stuff is old and worn.
Now,
He has
Jason, is he in the service of the Chamberlain? I'm sorry, or is he?
he is one of the most renowned couriers in Corinthia.
Oh, just in the okay. All right.
He gets paid top thalers to deliver messages, packages, etc., and that's what he does.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
yes, he could be in the employ of now you know him. You've met
Hmm.
Squire Hulse, and he doesn't call himself Squire Hulse. Everybody else does because he used to be a squire. But
Hmm.
Hulse, you know Hulse because he seems to deliver messages from agents of the Chamberlain or directly from the Chamberlain. But
Okay.
he doesn't work for any one person, but he'll take gigs delivering all over the kingdom. However, he will not go into the Davokar. He refuses
Okay.
to venture into the Davokar. But he has his
Understood.
backpack, his wool cloak, and he has his courier bag. And as he follows in behind you into the room, he swings his courier bag around, and he doesn't say much. You have heard his story at some point, whether you heard it around town, but you might have even known of Hulse when you were in Blackmoor, seeing this guy delivering messages, etc. But he pulls open
Hmm.
his bag and he draws out and he says, "Malleus, looks like you are worse for wear. A little too much of the wine, baby." And he's thumbing through his courier bag and finally produces a letter. And
Hmm.
he reaches out to hand that to you while he continues to fumble through his bag and wrestles out another actual canvas bag and says, I also this for you as well." As he stands there holding up a muddy, dirty, filthy canvas bag that he's pulled out of his courier bag and a letter.
Hmm. Okay. I will put the cup down and pluck the letter first out of his hands and or his hand and put that on the table. And then being much more interested in this dirty bag or satchel or whatever that he has,
Mhm.
I'll hold my hand out for that.
Okay. Uh,
What's this?
he says this was given to me by someone you may have known in Blackmoor. They told me to deliver this to you, Taro, Vicamere, whatever, here at this house.
Huh?
I do not know who this stranger was, but he said you all might be interested in this.
Okay.
The missive was delivered to me by another courier I
Mm,
know I know not where the letter comes from.
okay. All right. So definitely, uh, we're definitely Malice is much more interested in the bag initially,
Right?
so he will snag that and open it up and reach a paw in there and fish around to see what he can pull out of there.
Okay. So it's not much. There's not much in it, but it's filled. It's muddy.
Okay.
It looks like it's been dug up. Like somebody dug this thing, almost like a. It might have been dug up from a grave, or who knows.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but as you fish around in there, you feel a couple things. Number one, you feel like telltale coins,
Uh
thalers,
huh.
origs,
Ah.
shillings. Who knows?
Uh
There
huh.
feel a couple of other odd items. There's not a lot in the bag. Maybe 8 to 10 things in the bag.
Okay. Do we? Is it is it normal protocol to tip a Hulse or just to send him on his
Normally,
way?
that would be up to you. But Hulse, in all of your dealings with Hulse, he has never asked for
Okay.
because every time he's delivered something to you, somebody's
Hmm.
paid him to deliver it. So
That's what I
he's
was
never
wondering. Okay.
requested anything. However, he always waits to see if you have a missive you want to return. Do you want me to take something right? So before he leaves, he will ask you, "Is there anything you would like me to deliver in response?" Right,
Ah.
right. So
Okay.
he'll wait
All right.
until you dismiss him. But you could
Okay.
tip him. It's up to you. But he's never
As
once needed to be paid because you haven't sent any missives probably over the last,
okay.
right.
No,
Hmm.
understood. Okay, so at the moment that that Malleus actually fills coins in this bag, he will stop his fishing around in there,
Hmm.
and he'll kind of glare at Hulse and say, "That's it, Hulse. You can leave now."
Uh, he nods and he says, "You do not want to wait." Oh yes, sir. And he backs away a couple steps, turns
Uh-huh.
head down, and he's headed for the front door. And then he stops
Uh-huh.
and he looks back and he says, "May I discuss a private matter with you,
Oh,
Malleus?"
by the gods! I will tightly kind of fold the bag back up and put it on the table next to the letter. Uh, turn in the chair, turn the chair to face him, cross my arms and say, "Okay, out with it. Stop fiddling around. What's your problem?"
He comes forward and he says, "You have you and your flatmates here. You are not ex soldiers, ex adventurers. You are capable men and women."
I kind of lean back in the chair, put one kind of drape one arm over the back of it, kind of stick a leg out, and says, "Oh yes, we're most capable. We're widely known throughout the realm. Can't you tell? See all the finery I'm wearing, and I'll put my hands into my empty pockets and kind of like move
Hmm.
them around, and I say, "Hear all the gold that's in? Do you hear
Uh,
that?"
so the stories are true. You are so when I see you in the street shoveling horse manure and doing odd jobs,
Boy,
but I
yeah.
can see from your scars, etc. You have definitely at some point been a capable man. You may know my story. You may remember that I was once a squire to a great knight. You may or
Yes,
may not be familiar. It has been
we have
eight.
we have heard such things. Yes.
It has been 8 years since the events that my master was taken slave by Darklings.
Mm.
I have recently my friends and spies from the Davakar tell me that there a man has arrived that fits the description of my former master. He has showed up at one of the Queen's Ranger bases
Mm.
in the Bright Davakar.
Hmm.
I would like someone to foray there and find out whether this is indeed my former master. I feel obliged to rescue him and bring him home. Would you or your companions be willing to do such a thing for me?
I say, dear Squire, for me to traipse about within the Davakar requires quite a monetary investment, and also would require a certain certification, which unfortunately at this time I am not able to acquire.
Hmm. What? certification or not, what 10 thalers? Would that do it?
I say, you must not miss your master very, very much. Did you not love him? Was he not a kind master to you?
Ah, 20 thalers.
Uh, Malleus
I
will
only need you to travel there and verify it is the man.
Malleus will take kind of turn, to take a look at the mystery bag that's on the table again, and then he sighs and kind of glances around the room that he's in,
Hmm.
and he says, Holst. He stands up. Malik stands up and kind of saunters over to Hulse,
Yeah, Holst is
and
5'7", so I'm sure you tower over him, right?
and I'll put one hand on each shoulder, and look down at him and say, "Since we're such good friends, for you, of course, I can do this."
Mm. Then I will pay you 10 thalers now and 10 thalers upon delivery of verification. And he fumbles around and pulls out a pouch, and it's pretty fat. I mean, you figure there's probably
Hmm
100 thalers in there. He digs
He does,
through,
yeah, I know he does
right?
pretty good
Yeah,
for himself.
he counts out 10 and says, and I will give you another 10 upon your. However, I don't know where I'll be when you arrive back, but I will check in, or no doubt I will have more messages to deliver to you, and hopefully you will know something. Um, so he nods, smiles, and he thanks you greatly. This man, I don't know how he could have escaped the Darklings, but if this is the man, I must rescue him. And so he thanks you again and backs away, opens the door and shuts
Well,
it very quietly on his way out.
oh, before
Yes,
he leaves, Jason,
yeah.
I say, Holtz, you have not described your former master to me. How will I know
Oh,
when I
yes.
see him?
He turns and he says he is. I don't know. It's been 8 years. There's only one real defining characteristic. He was cleaved in a great battle. Uh, he has a deep scar from the very crown of his on the right side of his head all the way down through his face, through his chin, a deep scar
Mm,
from a former polearm wound. On the right side of his face, his hair was at the time dark, brown, wavy, short, cropped, always clean shaven was Sir Hinro the Knight. But
Sir
it's
Henro.
been 8 years, and in the condition, I don't know what condition he may be in, if indeed this is the man. Yes,
Okay.
Hinro is his name, Sir Hinro.
Yeah. All right. Uh. Okay. All
That's the
right.
only identifying mark I could. There can't be another man with that kind of wound on his face, head.
All right. I will walk with Holtz to the door
Hmm.
and open it for him, and I will give him a deep bow and say, "It is a pleasure to be in your service, Sir Squire."
Hmm.
And we will. I will be contacting you shortly.
Okay. When the door
All right.
opens, you see standing now right outside the door, facing again,
Mm-hmm.
their backs to the door, looking down each street, are his two
Mm-hmm.
bodyguards,
Oh boy.
Relgao and oh God, what's the other bodyguard? I gave you guys the. Anyways, he has two bodyguards
Okay.
that he's employed,
Yeah.
former Queen's Army soldiers, and they've been with him for years. They go with him everywhere, so
Mm-hmm.
he's got two bodyguards
Yeah.
there in the street.
And
And
Fordo and
yes, yes,
Real
yep,
guy. Yeah.
yep, that's them.
Yeah.
And again, he turns and says, "Thank you. I do not know when I will see you again, but hopefully there will be some information." And he pulls his cloak up over his head, and they head
Mhm.
uh, uh, basically south down the
Okay.
street.
Okay.
It's you now see there's some people out and about 4:15 here in the morning. You're
Mm-hmm.
seeing a lamplighter going down as but it's hard. I mean, all you're seeing really is the glow of his as he reaches up and lights these lamps in the fog. It's fairly foggy. It's not cold,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty dense fog. But you can see the lamplighter.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the aura of the light of the lamplighter as he's lighting lamps, as they obviously are anticipating the hustle and bustle of early morning work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, not long before he's off down the street into the
Okay.
fog with his
Okay.
bodyguards.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Uh,
Um,
so,
yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
oh, okay,
No,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, all I was gonna say was that the only other thing I guess Malleus would do is he would take a look at the once again just dump the bag on the table
Hmm.
and then take a look at the letter, the missive.
So as you shake out the bag, dirt, um, old grass, old turf, etc., kind of pours out of this thing, and about 10 orgs hit the table, a couple of thalers,
Hmm.
a purple and gold wooden token that reads RK.
Hmm.
The old Rigel wooden token that Rigel used for
Ah.
his agents,
Yeah.
and a thud as a ring hits the table, and
Hmm.
you immediately recognize the ring as the ring that Rigel once wore
Hmm.
on that right hand, the ring that was difficult to not uh, difficult to take your eyes off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dirty, muddy, but you know immediately this is that artifact. Make of that what you will. Um,
Hmm.
the uh, 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 the letter is a parchment. It is. I mean, I don't know if you're opening it or what you're doing.
He'll hold it up to look at it by candlelight just to see if there's any kind of signature or anything on it at all, seal,
Uh-huh.
anything.
Yeah. So let's make a cunning check to take in information on this.
Okay, all right. Cunning
And
check.
it's a
Let's
plus
roll
two.
it.
It's not difficult, really.
Okay, let's see. What's old Thalius or Malleus's cunning here? Oh, okay. Let's see. He needs 11, and he gets a 10. So
Okay.
done.
So you immediately notice that it's standard candle wax seals this
Mm-hmm.
trifold parchment. It's trifolded
Mm-hmm.
like a letter, sealed with traditional basic tallow, candle wax.
Mm-hmm.
It has a slight
Hmm.
fragrance of flowers or perfume. Clearly, whoever used this or stored it with, in a secretary or a desk or something that had feminine fragrance to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not heavy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just enough that you know it had been stored probably, um, or handled or whatever. It is
Mm-hmm.
again sealed with a normal tallow wax. There's no marking like a signet ring, no kind of mark in the wax.
Okay.
It is parchment paper. As you open it and unfold it, it's half the size of a parchment. Somebody carefully tore a normal size parchment in two
Mm-hmm.
and scribbled on this and folded it in three. So it's not a normal size sheet of paper. It's like this was conserved some portion of the paper, and I will post what the missive says here in the Symbaroum Discord. So I'll post that here.
Okay.
The missive. I'll upload the file here. Where is it? Mysterious missive. So that is in. That now is in the.
Mm-hmm.
As you can unfold that and read the missive.
Okay. Let's see.
It's a PDF. Hopefully, it's easy to open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 1 second.
And with that, scribbled at the bottom of the missive is
Mm-hmm.
like a hand drawn rough map
Oh,
that
okay.
indicates an area on the map. And again, I can also post that in the
Mm.
Symbaroum channel too.
Okay. All right.
Now, this map would not be, of course, a beautiful color hex
Yeah.
map, but this is for your. This is so you know where it's marked on the map, and you'll see on the map a red splotch. That's kind of, but this would be hand drawn, rough sketch
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
in correlation to what the missive reads,
Understood. Yep.
and that's all
Okay.
scribbled at the bottom of the parchment.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Find S. Okay. Interesting. All right. Would I or would Malleus with the penmanship or writing look familiar to him?
Yeah, no, you've already made the cunning check. It is lightly scrawled,
Hmm.
very attenuated, effeminate scrawl.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
your best guess is this is written by a female. Again, the
Okay.
fragrance corroborates that. The light-handed, very, very soft, subtle. But
Hmm.
it's purposely written. I mean, it's purposely. I mean, the actual somebody attempted to write this like a layperson, not like somebody educated. But
Ah,
but but
okay.
it's
Understood.
almost obvious to you that
Okay.
they went
Gotcha.
out of their way that you couldn't recognize their handwriting.
Okay. 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 Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Now that makes me wonder now the location shown on the map
Hmm.
would apparently could that be considered Bright Davakar as well?
That is, yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Um, yeah. So Carol's Fin, you've been to Carol's Fin. Carol's Fin is
Mm-hmm.
where you got on the river to go to the Chamberlain Summer Estates
Mm-hmm.
when you stayed the month
Yep.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
you've actually passed through Carol's Fin with Taro, not with Taro, but with Cabello and Shig.
Big. Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, when you were protecting John Teresa's family, that's the Chamberlain's
Mm-hmm.
sons,
Mm-hmm.
grandkids. So you've been through
Mm-hmm.
Carol's Fin. You've actually been on a boat on that river. So yes, it is Bright Davakar. However, Carol's Fin is it's a city, um,
Mm-hmm.
and they do a lot of trade along the river and the lake route there. Also, Carol's Fin, not far from Carol's Fin, is the
That's what I was gonna ask
Queens
next. Yeah.
Rangers most northern base.
Okay. So
Okay.
this cannot
Now,
be coincidence.
no. Well, no, because I'm sorry, I should have made it clear. The direction of Hulse was talking about was
Mm-hmm.
just north of Thistlehold at a Queens Rangers camp, not the actual
Oh, north
headquarters.
of Thistlehold.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So they're
Okay.
two different.
Two different.
They are two
Okay.
different missions, so to
Nice.
speak.
Okay.
Right.
No,
So
no,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah,
Okay.
but it is something else there. But that's just north of Thistlehold in the Bright Davakar at a Rangers camp, not the main headquarters.
Okay.
Right,
Not their headquarters. Okay.
right,
No,
yeah,
that's my
yeah,
okay. That's my oversight. Okay.
yeah. And Carol's
Um.
Fin is about a 20. It's about a 20, anywhere from 20 to 24 day journey on foot. Pretty
Uh.
hardcore, but yes.
One one other just world lore question. I guess nothing crazy important. Is size wise, how does Carol's Fin compare to Thistlehold? Do you know?
Yeah,
Or do you have an
definitely
idea?
not as crowded, not as dense.
Not quite as dense.
Carol's Fin
Okay.
is more of a riverside trading. Um,
Okay.
um,
It's still bustling.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
definitely alive and well, but not near Thistlehold's density, I suppose. Right. Carol's
Okay.
Fin, of course, being more of a river trade route, more open city.
Okay.
I'm sure it has palisade walls, etc., but not. I mean, Thistlehold's palisade walls are what 20 feet or something, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
it's big time. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I would say it's probably half the size of Thistlehold,
Okay.
as far
I
as
was just
population. Yeah.
yeah, I was just curious. Okay. Um after reading this missive and folding it carefully back up, uh um Malice will sit there for a moment or two, contemplating what his next move should be, and he comes to the conclusion that perhaps it may be more of an advantage to him to definitely take a look into the squire's task initially, because that should be. He thinks that would be a much easier thing to handle,
Right.
and he can that specifically results in money in his pocket,
Right.
which he desperately needs.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Is that fair?
Oh yeah, I don't. It's whatever you
Okay.
guys want to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to Dell. Let's find out where Thariah is at 4:30 in the morning. You're muted.
Actually, he's sitting muted, staring at the moon. Doing a bit of it's more or less out in the out a little bit past the shanty area of town in a clearing. The boy lays to my left in a pile, snoring, and I'm trying to not focus on that. But tonight hadn't been restful at all. The moon is full. The ambient lighting is everywhere. I sit there. My skin's I'm bald. My cloak has been removed off my head, of which I'm wearing a full, a full cloak down my body, and my skin is waxen, so to speak, which looks like almost a reflection of the moon itself, and my pallor is about the same consistency of the moon. But anyway, that's why I'm sitting there. My mouth is set in a straight line, and I'm just trying to relax, and I'm trying to listen and feel for my next move as far as where I need to go. But anyway, other than that, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. So Malleus, what are you? What's your plans? What are you doing?
Well, Alias thinks that this ranger station, if he doesn't know off the top of his head, he'll have to kind of figure out exactly, a more specific location of it, so he kind of knows how much of a trek he's got to make into Bright Davakar.
Yeah, you would know of this Queen's Rangers camp. It's a staging area for a lot of treasure hunters coming and going. It's where the Queen's Rangers might apprehend people in this area and hold them in custody if they've broken the law or if they're doing something. And again, you don't know. Even Holtz has only heard rumor that someone who he's been told by a spy or an agent that he's probably got ears out for that this man has arrived at the camp, but he doesn't know anything more than that. So, but yeah, it's about a day and a half march into the Bright Davakar from Thistlehold, so it's not far, right?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's almost directly north of Thistlehold.
Thistlehold. Okay. And then the second thing is that being that he was given some payment, he would initially use that maybe to perhaps just outfit him with just enough, if he can afford it, for
well, you should have
for that trek. I didn't know how destitute we were.
In the cellar. I gave a list today of everything the Chamberlain put in the cellar.
Yeah. Okay, so we can take from that. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's fine.
Right. So there's backpacks. Now, when you go down there to gear up, you find that it's been rummaged pretty good, and you find that there's a lot of stuff missing. So either your current partners are using some of it, or unfortunately, the down and out Taro may have absconded with
Oh,
some of it and sold it for his drug and alcohol problems.
oh wow.
Right,
Okay.
but you don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd have to find Taro
Okay.
somewhere in a brothel, and But
Yeah.
so among that equipment,
Uh-huh.
depending on what you want to take, we'll have to
Hmm.
check to see what's available. But you do realize when you get down in the cellar that it's been rummaged through, and
It
there's
has
some
been
of the
rummaged.
stuff that was here is not here now.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, he'll definitely try to look for one of the backpacks.
Yep,
Um,
there's a backpack.
uh, oh, there's a backpack. Okay.
Yep, I've got a list of what is here.
Of what is actually there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
Okay.
there's a couple of canteens.
Yeah, he'll take a
All the
canteen.
hardtack rations are there. So obviously nobody took the rations. Uh,
Okay.
One of the tents, one of the bedrolls is available. The other three are gone. There is a canteen.
Mm-hmm.
The monocle spyglass, which would be incredibly
Is
valuable,
gone. I
very
knew.
expensive, is not among this
Yeah.
stuff. The
And he
rope
took
is
and he.
there, right? The 50-foot
Okay.
rope is there. So pretty
Okay.
much what you need. The shovel, pickaxes are there. So obviously, none of uh, obviously whoever took it wasn't planning on using the shovel and the pickaxe. So yeah, okay. But
No
definitely
body
bedrolls are
snatching.
gone. A tent is gone. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's nothing crazy. He figures that if anything goes wrong, that he may not be coming back. So he's just taking the backpack with the canteen,
Okay.
enough rations for like 3 or 4 days at the most.
Okay.
Bedroll, rope, and he'll take the torches.
Okay. Yeah, they're
And
there now. The
that's it.
snare's gone, and the cooking
Yeah,
utensils are gone.
that's
So you might be able to
yeah,
put two and two together. Maybe Taro has made himself a little
it
homeless
makes
camp
sense.
somewhere,
Yeah. Okay.
somewhere lost in Blackmoor or in Thistlehold slums. Is poor Taro who can't get over what's happened to him, right?
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Okay. Uh, and while he's rummaging through the leftovers here, uh, Malleus will be kind of racking his brain, thinking, is there anyone that he can convince to possibly undertake this short quest with him?
Yeah.
And he as he's stuffing the items in the backpack, he stops for a moment, and he's looking at the holding one of the torches,
Hmm.
and he kind of holds it out away from him and kind of tilts his head a little bit, kind of squinting an eye looking at it, and it reminds him of the staff that that a certain Thoriah
Hmm.
carries with him all the time. And then he kind of shakes his head like, no. And then he shrugs like, why not?
Yeah. Right. He's a hell of a lot
So,
easier to get along with than Shake, right?
yeah, right. So he'll finish getting everything together, and then he will try to make himself somewhat presentable,
Right.
and he will. He's not equipped yet. He's just leaving out to have a discussion with the Raya.
Okay.
So I don't know if the Raya has a hangout spot that he's in, if he actually has a residence somewhere or an apartment somewhere, or what his conditions are. But that's what he's gonna head out to seek him out.
I think you would know that I do tend to have a tendency to prefer to sleep on the outskirts, down not downwind from the smells of the city. It's up on a rise, basically.
Right. Okay.
So I stay away from that, and I can commune with nature because I'm there. But I've probably been there for about a week now. So we've met in different places. I've obviously spoken to you and tried to lure you into my side of my worldview, as it were. Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Malleus will make his way outside of town, traversing the muddy road
Yeah, and
there.
by the time you've done this and you decide to step out and go find Thariah, there's now early morning workers
Hmm.
moving about. The city's Thistlehold's starting to come alive. The fog is lifting a little bit, and the uh, traffic is picking up in the streets. Matter of fact, you may have often gone to work this early, depending on what your
Oh yeah,
odd jobs were. Uh,
yeah.
so this would be the southern exit of Thistlehold out of right. If he's out on a rise away from the Thistlehold,
Hmm.
that would be the southern exit of Thistlehold. Um, yeah, I mean, you can go directly to him and find him, and you would know roughly where he's been camping, so to speak. It sounds like right for a week or so.
Yeah.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you two talk it out here. I'm going to mute mine so I don't make noise here.
Malleus will stop at a vendor stall somewhere and maybe buy some bread, perhaps, maybe some apples or something like that,
Okay.
and something he can snack on his way there, and then maybe like a conversation opener to hand over to Thariah once he gets there,
Okay.
and of course, perhaps maybe a bottle of something as
Yeah,
well.
and you should have the 10, 13. You should have
Hmm.
10 plus 3 thalers from the bag, so a total of 13 thalers.
Okay.
And you have about 11 origs. So the apples and bread won't cost more than a couple of origs, which are,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All
So,
right. Okay.
okay. And then
Yep.
head out
That's good.
as the sun comes up, right?
Well,
Hmm.
when the sun is coming, when the sun is coming up the rise, and you'll see me unfold myself almost like in as I'm sitting cross-legged.
Hmm.
But you'll see me on the hill as the sun comes up behind me. I'm framed like, you know, as my legs just kind of spring like, not fast, but just unfold,
Hmm.
and I stand up straight, and the the sun is striking behind me, and it's I use the the staff that I've been standing there to pull myself to rise myself up, and then you'll see me turn around, and I take the staff, and I poke the boy that's laying there in a crumpled heap. Get up, and then I notice you coming up the rise.
So you guys are just
Uh,
alongside the road, or kind of like in a clearing somewhere, or
it's up off the road. It's not off the road, but it's more of a grassy little knoll that
okay.
there's a ruined tree sitting up at the top of it. It provides some kind of minimum of shade.
Okay.
But that's what you're saying. And I, you know, he gets up and starts moving around and gathering our things, and I notice you, and I stand there waiting for your approach as you get closer.
Yeah, you see Malleus kind of and actually you hear him as well cussing up a storm as he is attempting to like avoid the deepest mud puddles, and ruts that are in the road, if that's what you want to call it,
Yeah,
he's got a modest cloak that he has uh kind of tucked over one arm to keep it from dragging in the mud, and
yeah,
then in his hands you see he has like a sack, and also you see that the he's got kind of like the some leather high boots that come just right above the knee, and they're kind of like the swashbuckler type, with the buckles,
yeah.
in the front, but everything looks not quite threadbare, but he looks like
Worse
someone
for
who,
wear.
yeah, he looks like someone who used to be a lot more like stylish, but has definitely seen hard times. So his attire may have been at one time, much more dashing and everything like that, but at this point, it's not.
Well,
So
as you close in, recognition kind of, as I see your face more clearly, uh, and you probably see the wisdom of me standing on the hill as the water washes down into the road and the gullies that you've been stomping through. You know what I mean? And there's a withered fruit tree beside me. So, um, but I said, Mellis, come join us. And then I do a sweeping movement toward the tree fruit per chance,
I
and then I try
where
to pick, and it's wilted and about dried out. And I turn
Mally's
around and
shaking.
kind of raise an eyebrow towards you. Okay.
I shake my head and I say, "Here, I'm keeping one step ahead of you." And I'll reach into the sack and I will hand you a apple, and I'll toss another one to your.
No, I stop you before you do that, and then I toss
Uh
in the withered fruit and grab the apple and chew it. Heard about your duties.
Mally
We shouldn't
shakes it.
spoil the boy. You know.
Because all you wizards are the same.
Bonner is up. He catches this fruit, and he'll eat it greedily. Yes, as and then he'll stand and approach so he can hear this conversation.
hmm Malleus kind of looks around as if there was going to be like a table and chairs appear out of nowhere. And then once he sees there's nothing there, he folds his arms and leans up against the tree, and he says, I've got an offer for you. Have you had enough of being out here in the rain and the cold and the wind? Are you ready to do something different, a change of scenery?"
An offer for me. I thought you'd come here to accept my offer.
Huh?
I need an additional protege to go fight
What do you
the
need? You do
corruption
not
and
need
evil in
another
the
protege.
Davatar.
We don't need him. Thariah, you've got me. Teach me.
Hush, boy. And then,
Malleus will take a bite.
I'll do an ice cold, still glance at him right there because I'll toss him if he's, if he gets if he becomes unruly. But anyway,
I'll take a bite out of the apple, and
the emperor
I'll,
needs all the, anyway, go ahead.
no,
Take a bite of
no,
the apple.
he'll say, "I see how you treat your your acolytes, and would you treat me the same way?"
You would have to go through, as I have, the processes. But nevertheless, what is your offer? I do tire of this town, and I'll
I
reach down and brush some dust off my, lower torso region and robe.
I'd nod just generally, in the direction of Davakar, and I'll say, "You've told me that your knowledge of corruption and things of magic, your knowledge is extensive upon such things, correct?"
I've experienced my fair share. And when I say this, I should note that I have slightly almost elvish ears, and it looks
Mm-hmm.
like my flesh is like if it were burnt or had been burnt previously. You know what I mean? Because I'm bald headed. There's no eyebrows. There's no facial hair, and it's almost
Is
like my
there
skin is pulled taut, so there
is
could be
the
a little bit of repulsion. But not overly
is
so, but you know what I'm
is
saying.
yeah, I do. Is there any indication of Ariah's age at all, or is it hard to tell?
It's he's long lived. It's hard to tell because there's kind of a he would seem with his cadence and his slow manners
Mm-hmm.
that he's seen his fair share and he's not not subject to be like respond with a knee-jerk reaction about anything or be foolhardy or whatever. So there's an air of wisdom about him,
Yeah.
of someone who's lived a good while. But it's
Okay.
hard you don't necessarily have wrinkles. It's like it could be obscured
Mm-hmm.
because his skin's different, as I've
Mm-hmm.
stated. It's not the normal,
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Uh, with a sniff, Malleus says, he says, I've spent time with your kind, one way or the other, and having been through what I've been through, I think it would be wise of me to see if you would like to accompany me on a short venture within Bright Davakar.
okay. His eyebrow raises slightly. You notice that whenever you said my kind, or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
made a reference to my kind.
Mm-hmm.
Into the bright Davakar, my head kind of tilts toward that area. But are you not? And then I look at you again. Are you not forbidden into the Davakar?
Malleus will kind of look down and brush a non-existent crumb, off of the front of his shirt, and he'll say, "That is just a minor inconvenience," and he'll kind of peer at you, and he'll say, "I wouldn't think that." Dealing with the things that you deal with on a daily basis, that such a thing would be a problem for you.
Perhaps not, but you must be wary of chaos. Less order in your life leads to perhaps corruption in your members. Remember that. Take heed.
You've
And then, and then I'll look off wistfully into the deeper Davakar. It's like almost I'm penetrating in there. But and I'll say, but it seems she's awake, and I'll say it almost under my breath, and then I'll kind of snap back and look at you. And we must do what we must. And then I'll look back at you.
I'll shrug. Okay. I'll shrug and I'll say, that when I first sought you out, because of some of the things I've experienced in Davakar, you've seen, you've looked at me with the eye, so you know somewhat of what I've been through. Chaos does not frighten me.
Yes, but we all should remain mindful of it.
I am mindful of it. I am mindful of it, Thariah.
Okay. A hissing goes through my closed line of a mouth or whatever, and you'll see me calm down. Quick, boy, ready our things.
Oh, are we going? And he shuffles up and rolls up what bedding you guys have, what gear you have, as he starts piling it in a pack.
Yeah, putting the rock pillows in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So on that, I turn on my heel or whatever like that and motion toward Malleus. Yeah, to lead on.
Well, I hold a hand up, and now, Jason, would this be kind of on the route, or would it?
Yeah, you would just have to circle around the city of
Okay.
Right, or the other direction. It doesn't matter how, but you didn't go out the northern gates. You went out the southern gates to get to this spot. So you would just have to travel, or you can go back into the city and collect your gear and everything. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and you can certainly
Uh,
leave Thistlehold through the north gate if you choose to. Right. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Um, so I'll say yes. I'll wait here while your boy servant gathers all of your belongings, and I'll kind of look around and say, "Is there anything you need me to carry?"
Bonner, kind of
I'm being
snorts and
sarcastic.
yeah, he kind of snorts and looks away from you. Clearly, Bonner doesn't like the fact that you're encroaching upon his apprenticeship.
Okay.
Oh, it's yeah. I've already started walking away because I
Hmm.
mean he should have already started gathering when I initially told him instead of
Oh yeah, he's
eavesdropping on
already
our
gathered all that
conversation.
up. He's carrying the
Yeah,
pack on his back, right?
yeah. So
Yo, I think
yeah, but I just gestured toward Malleus to lead on.
I I think I must have worked with you years ago when I first started my apprenticeship. This sounds quite familiar. uh, Malleus will he'll kind of walk up behind Thariah, and he will slip a one of the apples he bought into the boy's one of his pockets or something.
Oh yeah, he greedily takes it, and he makes no bones about it. He bites into that, making as much noise as possible, uh, slurping and wiping the apple
Oh my
juice and
gosh.
biting, letting his master know he's enjoying this fresh fruit.
Mm-mm. Okay.
When you arrive at the gates to get back into Thistlehold, of course, you're stopped. You have to show your papers or your copper ring.
Mm.
Once you approach and you show the evidence that you are a resident or a worker in Thistlehold, you
Hmm.
are allowed through the gates. Thariah, you have one as well. The boy, you would have to vouch for as your servant, etc., which wouldn't be a problem to get past the guards. Um, and then Malleus can lead you back to the townhome to get
Hmm.
gear, right?
Yes.
Um,
They'll know by how he's weighed down. You
okay,
know what I mean? So
okay. Yeah, so no problem getting into Thistlehold as long as you have that copper ring showing your status and your legal right to be here. These were obtained for
Hmm.
you by the Chamberlain, uh, and so you could stay and work in Thistlehold. So you'll gather up your gear, whatever that gear is. You note that you're taking. Are you taking the purple wooden coin, the old Rigel coin token, I should say? The
Yeah,
ring,
I don't feel comfortable leaving those items, and
okay,
they're not they're small, so I don't have a problem with just tucking them somewhere
okay.
and taking them with me. I don't know how specific you want me to get to where
No,
they
no.
where I
I was just
put
curious if
them.
you it
Yeah.
would be on your persons if you're going to
Yes.
carry it. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Uh,
The letter, the ring,
okay.
and the token. Yes.
Okay, so it takes you guys about 45 minutes to work your way through Thistlehold, back to the townhouse, pack the gear up, and then work your way through the city. Almost an hour in total just to get to the northern gates. At this point, the sun is up. It's hustle and bustle, people about, and as you come to those northern gates to pass through, you are funneled through a smaller. The gates are for the most part shut. They have smaller
Mm-hmm.
doors and the gates open, and
Mm-hmm.
everything bottlenecks there as you move through. And there's adventurers and treasure hunters with their gear. Uh, uh, as everybody's at this point either or coming into Thistlehold or exiting. And as you get out there, there is a pretty well trodden path on what's called the fire break to get to the edge of the forest, the Bright Davakar. And you've done this before on other treks, crossing the fire break. And again, about a 30-45 minute walk as you see staging areas for adventurers, treasure hunters. You see troops of the Panzer. You see Queen's Rangers. It's as the sun is in the sky about 7 o'clock in the morning. You approach the Davakar. I do not know. You're going to have to define or explain to me how you're going to traverse the Davakar, how you're going to go about doing this, David, and of course, Dell. But this will be tied directly to your obviously your how discreet you are, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of people here, as this is kind of the popular disembarking into the Davokar, Bright Davokar here. It's pretty popular because it's just north of Thistlehold.
Mm-hmm. Well, since we are doing this unofficially, I would say that we want to kind of find a route of traversal that is, of course, off the beaten path, so to speak.
Okay.
But being that neither one of us are trailblazers by any
Mm-hmm.
means, I would think that we need to at least keep certain landmarks and such within within our sight,
Okay. Yeah, and
because we don't want to become lost basically
right.
if possible.
But you're not taking the well trodden path right up to the
No,
base, to the Queen's
no, no,
Ranger
no,
camp,
no,
right?
no.
Okay. Yeah, but you know where it's at. You would have seen this before, been here before. So let's go
Hmm.
ahead though and make a discrete check. Who has the lowest discrete? Would that be Bonner or?
Probably me. I've got a 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not discreet at
Yeah.
all about anything.
Okay, so let's make a discrete check. No modifier.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Start this off right here. Okay, and 12. So that's a failure.
Okay. So you're making your way through the through the Bright Davokar off the beaten path. There's still quite a bit of traffic. There are
Hmm.
clearly those that are watching the other expeditions again that
Hmm.
are that have either been camping here and they're packing up and they're moving on. So you work your way, trying to get away from maybe prying eyes. Um,
Yeah.
in, you've not seen at this portion any Queen's Rangers stopping expeditions. I mean, it's just too close to the border of the Davokar. So, but as
Okay.
you work your way through, you do realize that when you get within eye shot where you can see this Queen's Rangers camp, that it's
Hmm.
pretty crowded. Kind of a
Really?
surprise. It's
Okay.
they have a couple of people in the stocks. You can see the Queen's Rangers have a full platoon here. They're mingling. They could be preparing to move out. They could be just arriving. It's hard to say whether this is a change of platoon, but
Excuse me.
there's a few. It looks like there's maybe 16 Queen's Rangers
Oh wow.
right smack in the middle of the base camp. There are some temporary buildings here. They've cleared much of the Bright Davokar to make this little base, this little Queen's Rangers base camp.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you also see, larger tents that would be processing tents for processing people purchasing the appropriate paperwork,
Ah. Mm-hmm.
paying fines or paying what they have to pay. You see like a tent, um, community tent where they might have cots for sleeping. There's a barracks, but it's a tent barracks. You also see again, none of these are permanent, but a tent that would be of a hospitality tent, so to speak, where you could get food and
Mm-hmm.
drink. So it's a military base camp, but
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like a small little village, right?
Right. Right.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, there's lots of bodies. Your failure is not so much that you've been spotted; it's that unfortunately it's crowded.
Okay.
So
Okay.
your failed roll manifests itself as there's more potential threats here. Just so you
Now.
understand what happens with them, right? Okay.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
I suggest we mingle.
What was
But
that?
you're
Oh,
30,
you want to
45
mingle?
feet away from the, in the brush outside the, where they've cleared forest, just outside the
Okay.
fire break of the camp, right? In the bushes, kind of eyeballing the camp.
Uh, one question. Uh, Malleus is aware that there is no. Is it true that there is no really legal way for him to afford to buy any kind of because he has to have a sponsor for the typically for the
No, you can purchase your own explorer's license. Yeah, sure can.
and how much were those?
I believe they are an explorer's license for 2. This would be for 3.
Mm-hmm.
So Bonner, for instance, would not be represented. He would be. You could pay for him to if you expected him to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that explorer's license price
I,
list? I think
I don't
it's.
think we've got enough, but I wasn't sure.
I'll put my hand on Malice's arm and stop him for a minute. As we slow
Mm-hmm.
down because we recognize all this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, if you trust me to do this, I shall provide a distraction. At the moment, the camp is otherwise occupied or observing what I'm providing. You make the way with the boy, Bonner. And I look at Bonner and say, and you follow him. Get a good distance away and I will meet you there. Await me.
Well,
As far as the trail past it.
I say this is our destination at the moment. There's someone.
Oh, this is the destination?
There's someone specifically that I'm looking for that is supposedly here.
I cannot find that.
Okay, well, describe him to me. And then if you give me the description, we're looking for that man. I shall make my way amongst them unseen and return to you.
I'll say he has dark hair, a scarred face, and goes by the name of Henro.
Okay.
And he would have been middle aged. Holtz
Middle-aged?
would have told you he's middle aged.
Oh,
which
okay.
might be
Okay.
30, right?
Okay.
Okay. And then there's trees around here or whatever. They're inside of a camp area, right?
Well, yeah.
That's
So
open.
so there would be like a clearing where they've cleared away forests to create these tents and a base camp, staging area for Queens Rangers to bring or to process paperwork. Again, a community tent, a barracks tent, and then of course a hospitality kind of tavern type tent. They're all tents.
And Jason, the only reason I'm asking is that if it was possible for us to obtain certification for this, at least we could kind of use that as a reason for us being here. Because otherwise, why would we be snooping? Why would we be hanging around the encampment?
Right.
That's the only reason. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Well, and you're close enough. I mean, at this point, you're not
Doesn't
out.
matter.
You're not. Well, no. I mean, you're not actually out.
Out.
On an expedition where you would. So I mean, you could be here to acquire a license. You could be here for, right? So
Okay, so
you don't have to feel like you're.
We're not sticking out like a sore thumb at this point, doing what we're doing.
Right.
just
No,
kinda hanging around.
and you
Okay.
probably wouldn't be considered violating because you're not actually treasure hunting. You're not digging out
Okay.
treasure. You're not collecting herbs. You're not collecting firewood. You haven't yet.
Cross that line.
Right.
yet.
Right.
Well, I look at, Malleus, and, doubly so, and look at you seriously. You wait here with the boy. I will be back with your answer. Right? So,
Okay.
I'll walk off. You'll see me kind of disappear into a clearing. And then in a little while, and I'll have to roll for this, a resolute. Of which I did pass it. That's what I want to shapeshift into a bird, basically, a small bird, and take flight.
I'm not certain you can. I don't think you can go smaller.
That small. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can go that small. You can can change your look. Oh,
no, it's in a reptile. You
can. Okay. Oh, so this isn't this isn't the changeling. This is shapeshifting.
No, it's a check. Well, changelings have
Right.
shape shifting,
Okay.
so it's yeah. I took shape shifting,
Okay. Okay.
so that's what yeah. With that
Okay.
deal,
So
I
into
mean,
a bird.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Until bird, and I want to fly over the camp, and you know, maybe my eyesight's better than
Okay.
normal, so I have to dive in, and I want to get circle it and try to find if I see the individual enough. Maybe if I flying
Okay.
low
So
or whatever I have to do.
let's make a vigilance check at -4 to your vigilance.
Okay, well that's what I just you got. Oh, vigilance, gotcha.
As you're trying to identify faces and people and right as you're flying around.
Yeah, vigilance 11, so -4 of that
7 or below.
is 7. Insane.
Okay. So as you fly through tents, these open tents, that the tents are rolled up, so they make an opening. You can see tables where people are eating breakfast, staging. You can see where they've got some prisoners. As you fly through and around, you definitely spot how can I say this? I would say an infirmary type
Mm-hmm.
area where there's people who are sick on cots being tended by uh, 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 I won't say
Yeah,
nurses, but they're being tended. And it appears among those in this infirmary tent that there might be someone who fits this
description.
description. He appears to be middle aged, dark hair. I mean, again, as you fly through, he definitely has a scarred face, a scraggly, thick beard, though hard to see if the scar runs the entire length. I mean, his beard is affected by the scar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but he is
that's what I do.
emaciated. He
Once
looks. I mean, he's emaciated, starved. He's
It
not
looks like
like
he's being
talking
cared
to
for
anybody.
in an infirmary.
Yeah. He's. I mean, he
He's
looks.
not shackled. He's not anything
No,
like
no,
that, right?
no. But he looks like he is. He looks. I mean, he's again emaciated, very thin, uh, atrophied muscles. He looks. I mean, he looks like he's been starved or he's been lost or right. Pretty pathetic looking human being.
Okay. Well, see that what I wanted to do is rise above at least because I know that if he's trying to get in there to see him for the whole downward view of the encampment and where there might be entrances and exits where like everybody's stationed or
Mm-hmm.
population wise, like a rough count where
Mm-hmm.
they're all the hot
Yeah.
areas are
So
and where
there's
there might
no
be an entrance.
there's no bottlenecks. So the camp is round. Again,
Yeah,
they've deforested where the camp, so it's safe from potential fire threat, etc. They've
yeah,
deforested, but there's the tents are just kind of random scattered. There's no bottlenecks, like there's no palisade, there's no gates. You can come in and out of the camp from any direction, any navigation
Mm-hmm.
point, pretty wide open. Now, there is a platoon of about 16 Queens Rangers. Some of them are on their knees, some of them are packing gear, some of them are cleaning weapons. They look as if they are preparing to break up on patrol, or they may have just come into camp. Hard to say. Maybe another 25 people in total scattered throughout the whole camp. Some eating, some in the infirmary. Again, two are actually in shackles. They are being held, right? And then again, but pretty. I mean, it's pretty early in the morning, and there's a handful of people lined up at a desk with a Queens Ranger that apparently are paying for their license or are acquiring a license or paying fines, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But it's pretty morning, typical kind of early morning activity, right?
I got you. I got you. I mean, I was just wanting to clarify too about the aspect of anything that might be issuing forth corruption or whatnot. I know I don't have which site, but you know what I mean. That might be working to against my ultimate goal, but I don't see that. So what I do is fly back and land a little bit of distance away from my companion, from Malleus, and then I need to roll to change back resolute to be
Okay.
able to do that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's his. Yeah, that's the
Okay, I
shapeshift
got.
spell. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. So I stumble out in a little bit. Not stumble so much. It's just opening the way forward with my hand in my staff, moving the brush aside, and I walk and stand in front of you. And then I believe we have who you search for. Looking in
Malleus
the camp.
Malleus blinks in disbelief and kind of just like that.
I'll give a description of him and say that his beard somewhat, but I'm certain he looks emaciated. I give the whole briefing of what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and then the kind of rundown of the layout of the camp, and if
Right,
you intend
and
to,
from these bushes, this edge, again, it's only about 50 feet to get to the tents. You can kind of point out the infirmary area. So Malleus, you should be able to, kind of peek up and look. You can see heads of people moving about, etc. You kind of get an idea of those that are nursing those in the infirmary from here. There would be between you and the infirmary area. Of course, you would tell him this. Of course, Thoriah. The hospitality breakfast tent is between you and them, and the Queen's Rangers are pretty much right smack in the middle of the whole camp. Again, appearing to prepare for the day's patrols. Right.
Okay.
However, you could certainly circle around in the bushes here.
but I'm telling Malleus,
yeah.
Is your right now is your intent to go and retrieve this man?
No. I just have to verify that it is him indeed, and bring this information back.
It would seem to be so, and since you do not have a license, unless you propose to purchase one.
And tell me again, what was his current state of
He was
well-being?
disheveled. He looked emaciated, worse for wear, haggard. But yet it seemed that he was not shackled. He was not bounded. He was being cared for. The leechers were doing their best to bring him around. Perhaps he's in better care than if we would take him traipsing around.
No.
This location with the Queen's Rangers at our back.
No.
Without certification to be in the Davacar.
I have no intent on alerting the whole encampment. I just wonder if there's any way that I can approach him and maybe have a word or two with him.
A word or two. Now, did he look like he was lucid or cognitively aware of anything, Jason?
Oh, I mean, he wasn't.
Or was he out?
Yeah, the best you could make out was that he was maybe asleep or resting. Right? I mean, he didn't look dead, of course, and he wasn't being treated or talking to anybody in particular.
Mm-hmm.
He might have been again being about 8 a.m. here, probably resting.
Yeah. But that's what I'll tell you, Mel. He, right now he seemed unconscious, and who knows if you would be able to rouse him. And if you did, if he would be aware enough to give you any report.
I mean, you could just logistically, you could certainly, again, circumnavigate through the bushes to the northern side of the camp, and you would. You would be on that side of the camp where you could see the infirmary. There would be nothing between you and the infirmary tent, right?
I think we'll wait a little while until the ranger population kind of thins a little bit.
Okay.
When they leave out on their patrols, and then we will do that. We'll make our way, or unless Thoriah wants to wait here. I'll kind of make my way over to that area and see if I can.
The longer we're here, the more at risk we put ourselves.
This won't
take
but
of being discovered.
It won't take but a moment.
Um,
Okay. My eyes shift around and look back at the camp. And then I come back to you and kind of nod my head. Like,
Okay.
I yield to your.
So was I aware of your transformation at all, or did you do this somewhere off private?
I did it out private. If you want to,
Okay.
it's up to you and Jason if you want to roll to see if you notice anything. But
That's fine. Okay. No, I was gonna
the
make a remark, but I wouldn't be aware of it, so that's fine.
the bird feather sticking out of the corner of his mouth is funny to you, though. Did he eat a bird? No, I'm kidding.
And
Came back with a bird feather stuck
it.
to his bald head. It's like,
Yeah.
I marked the target in there for you to find him. You'll see a big white and black globule.
Nice. So yeah.
Bombs
So
away,
in
yeah.
about
that's what
30 minutes or so, you see about 8 of these Queen Rangers. They traverse north through the camp and north off into the Bright Davakar, north of the camp. The other 8 again are there. There's about, again, it was about 16. 8 of them are off, obviously, to do their patrols. The other 8 you now see are basically doffing their armor. They appear to be off shift, so to speak, right? And they begin to you see them settle, and many of them are going into the barracks tent with their gear, etc. And there's a handful that go in and have breakfast while in this 25 minutes. And before long, many of the Queen's Rangers that were staging there in the middle are now in the barracks, apparently at rest. And there's a couple of officials still at the tables, Queen's administrators. They may not be warriors, and many of those that were lined up there at this administrative table. Those guys have staged, packed up, and they're off to do their exploration of the Davakar, leaving really a pretty empty camp now at about 9 o'clock in the morning. You can still see there's people moving around the infirmary, and a handful of those that would be employed here to cook and things like that are about.
Okay.
But it's pretty quiet and pretty empty right now.
All right, I will take that as a time to make my move.
Okay.
And
moving in the brush and everything, right?
Yeah, I'll take the perimeter route,
Okay.
and then I will get as close as I can, and then try to enter the. He's in the infirmary. Try to enter.
Okay.
I guess, and it's kind of mechanically it is what it is, but I guess I don't want to walk around scrambling around on all fours, because
right? Yeah, you don't want to look like you're sneaking around, but you don't want to. You don't want to walk boldly right into the middle of the camp.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to. Right. I got you. But as you circumvent the bushes, not making lots of. I mean, you don't want to hide, but you don't need to sneak, so to speak. Right. You don't want to be too conspicuous. You do get around to the north side though. And you can now see plainly into this infirmary. There's about 4 individuals. 2 of them look like they're badly wounded rangers being tended to. Set aside from them is a lone cot, or I should say, it's maybe these cots are like maybe 4 to 6 inches off the ground, made out of crosshatch trees. I mean, they're not cot like military cots. They're made for this type of situation. And you see who Thoria had described roughly where he was at. You see this mop of dark hair, beard. You can see from this angle, the top of his head is a deep gash scar that runs down. You can't see, of course, his beard from this angle. He is. He's not moving much, but he's not dead. I mean, you can see he's breathing. You can see he moves around. You can see the nurses tending the 2 rangers that are badly wounded. There is a 4th here as well that is isolated from the main tent to your right, so north. That would be northwest of the infirmary tent, almost outside the edge of the tent itself. Appears to be pretty sick. he's moaning, groaning. Again, this does not appear to be a ranger. He's not a warrior. He's not muscled up.
Okay.
But he roll up and he'll vomit.
Oh.
They
Okay.
are. He'll moan and groan. He is clearly ill. This individual northwest of the. Again, they've placed him almost outside the infirmary.
Wow. Okay. All right. The two rangers that are being tended to, that are wounded, are they bedridden, or are they
Yes,
sitting
they
up?
are. Nope,
Okay,
they're
okay.
they don't appear to be doing a lot of communicating with
Mm-hmm.
those tending them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these attendants will attend to wounds, etc., and then they'll move around. They'll leave. They'll come back. I mean, there's not.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only about two individuals attending them, and they're both men as well. There are no females that you've seen here in the camp at all. Women.
Okay. Okay. All right. Malleus will kind of.
Are you inside there with him, or are you just looking?
I'm heading towards there. I'm going to see if I can get close to him to see if I can speak with him. That's all I'm trying to do. If I can't,
well,
I can't.
Yeah, we'll be behind you, and then we'll stop before you leave the clearing, basically.
Okay.
But I'll be on Overwatch, Jason, too.
If it goes south, it's gonna go south bad. So
sure.
I don't. It's kind of just like.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite literally not much going on. There's the sick, the wounded, and the couple of attendants here. You're about from the bush line here. You're only about 20 feet from the tent from the infirmary.
Right. Right. I'm going to stand slowly. From stop. I guess creeping about the bushes instead, and just
you
kind
start
of
to
walk.
stand off. You will. I'll tell you that be alert. I will call. You will hear a call if if the enemy is at bay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll look off. I won't go further than that. And I do want to do something when he leaves.
Okay. So basically, I'm more or less trying to. I'll kind of look. I'll kind of try to take on the countenance of someone who just kind of is wandering around, just kind of being nosy.
Okay.
And once I get towards the entrance or the mouth of that tent, I will actually say.
I mean, it's more of the sides of these tents are rolled up, so
they are. Okay.
I mean, you can see through the whole camp.
So
it's almost like they're canopies. It's almost like they're just canopies on. All
right.
But they can drop the sides in these tents and close them in for weather, etc. So there's not. I mean, it's literally like a top, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just so it's not like you got to go into the tent, right?
Yeah. Well, everything's wide open for good or bad. I get it.
Right.
I'll stride forward at an even pace, and I will walk up to him, and I will bend over him, and I will say, "Sir Henro."
He, as you approach, one of the attendants who's caring for one of the rangers just kind of glances over his shoulder at you and continues to care for this. Again, they see people come and go. His response is like, "Oh yeah, right. It's just another guy in camp."
Yeah.
He is very emaciated. I mean, probably he looks much older than he probably is. He might have been at some point in his life similar to you, stout, muscular, a warrior. He has the scars, evidence that he had at some point been, but he is maybe 90 pounds, very ill, or very much starved. One one of his eyes, the scar literally starts in the top of his skull and works down through the eye socket. The eye
Mm-hmm.
is discolored, blind.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, had been wounded, and it cuts through his thick, long beard. You can see the scar. There's no hair growing in that wound through his
Mm-hmm.
chin. He hears you, but it's you can see his blind eye kind of like move around.
Mm-hmm.
The other
Mm-hmm.
eye tries to focus on you. His head turns somewhat toward the where your voice is coming from. He
Mm-hmm.
is covered in a wool blanket, but it's half off. His upper body is exposed, and you can see his
Mm-hmm.
scars. You can see just literally ribs. I mean, it's
How's he dressed? What's he wearing?
he's
Anything?
he's
Uh,
naked. And
oh, he
his
is.
lower
Oh,
body
okay.
is covered in a wool blanket. So you don't know, but his
Okay.
upper body is nude. I mean, he has
Okay.
no shirt, no right. So he's nude to the waist, and then his lower body's covered in this wool blanket. It
Okay.
looks as though he's pushed it off. He looks a little sweaty,
Boy. Okay.
maybe feverish, like he's pushed this off of him. He's hot, but he definitely hears you. His blind eye wanders, and he kind of twitches his head in your direction.
Okay.
Um,
I'll kneel a
I,
little closer, and I will say, your Squire Holst seeks you out. And I'll say again, Sir Henro, can you hear me? Do you understand?
Uh,
Squire Holst.
you hear the air
Mm-hmm.
escape his as he gasps, like breathes in, like he wants to speak, and
Mm-hmm.
very lowly. His lips are cracked and dried, somewhat dehydrated, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like he's trying to speak, but it's I mean it's a broken, very soft whisper. It's very difficult to hear,
Mm.
but he
Okay.
is attempting to respond.
I look about quickly.
Mhm.
Is there anything about where I could maybe give him a sip of water or something?
Yes, but you would have to step up, go over and grab up the
I'll do.
yep, and
I'll
the
do that.
attendant looks at you as you do, and the attendant whispers something to the queen's to the wounded ranger, and then
Mm-hmm.
says, "Do you know this? Do you know this man?"
I
can I pause it here because
Yes.
I wanted to do something whenever he left off.
Okay.
I turned around to Bonner and keep an eye. Tell him to keep an eye on Malleus and any incoming thing,
Hmm.
and do not be distracted by the commotion. I'm going to give him some leeway, and I look at Bonner, and then I leave off from him, and I want to shape change.
Okay.
Um, I'm going to shape change. I'm assuming that we could do. It says any small creature, be reptile or what have you, but on a skunk-like creature, and I want to run in where through the camp and spray. Try to where the guards are. You said was bedding down or whatever. So I want to clear the camp a little bit and have them distracted. Provide some kind of way like that. So I was able to do the change.
Okay.
But anyway, I will skirt out into the camp and cause some disruption.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. So let's. So you're actually stinking up the camp.
Yeah. I want to run
let me
through.
see. Combat.
Get them to clear the clearing, as it were, and to stay away from each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
To where they
Right.
that kind of thing. So
Okay.
especially the guards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just make a accuracy roll with this. All right. Let's make an accuracy roll with this. See if you provide the right stink bomb and the right location. Right.
Let me see what.
Accuracy is accurate attribute.
Oh yeah, I know. It was. I was seeing if it relegated to something else, but it doesn't. Um, Accuracy is
And no modifier, just a straight roll.
yeah. All right. Accuracy 7. No, it's 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
So you do your due, but there's no telling, who it's going to affect or how. But you've done it, but it may not be the precise location that you want. But right.
Oh yeah. I just want to make some general
Sure.
chaos that the camp would be focused on me and the hubbub of what's going on, where he can
Right.
hopefully Malleus doesn't take the bait too,
Okay. So
which I don't know.
now you were going to say something there, Malleus, as
Oh,
he's
uh,
whispering, trying to. Yeah, you got
uh,
water. The
I would.
attendant
I'd like to get
asked
a rag.
if you knew the person, right?
Yes, 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 yes. As he does that, I tear a maybe like a strip of rag or bandage or something and dip it into the water, and I say, I believe he's a companion, someone I knew uh, uh, during a past what would you call it uh, military campaign is what I'm trying to think of.
This
Yeah,
man was a queen's army. Uh,
possibly.
do you know his name? We need to record. We would like to know who he is. We need to record his name and um. So as he says this, he
Hmm.
turns and says, I will fetch the record keeper," and he's not in a hurry.
Okay.
He's very informal.
Hmm.
While you tend Hinro, right, or who you
Okay.
think is Hinro, right?
Well, I think it's Henry. Correct. Yeah.
You
I will.
got a pretty good idea based on this scar, right?
I'll yes. I'll dip the rag in the water and then bring it to his lips and kind of like squeeze it, just
Hmm.
dropping, not overwhelming him with the water into his mouth, and kind of dabbing his
Hmm.
lips. And I'll whisper, I'll say, "Speak up, you bastard! Is it you? Are you Henro?"
With very slow, um, his motor movements are a little sloppy, very
Mm-hmm.
slow. He tries to reach up and pat it.
Mm-hmm.
He'll take this from you and
Mm-hmm.
push it into his mouth and lips and
Mm-hmm.
um, suck
Mm-hmm.
basically the liquid out of this
Moisture.
rag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, you see now that his other eye, is very glassy, very.
Mm-hmm.
You now can feel the body heat. Is he
Mm-hmm.
sweaty? You can feel the body heat come. He is definitely got a temperature, fever, right? Pretty
Oh
hot.
wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he pulls down the rag and he whispers something kind of melodically. You can
Ugh.
see barely through his thick beard and his
Mm-hmm.
cracked lips, a little smile, and he says something. Let's make a cunning check
Ugh. Okay.
to see if you can kind of pick up.
Ugh. Okay. My next not very good stat. It's like where's Mally? What was I thinking when I made this guy?
Warrior. You were thinking warrior, right?
Yes, did it.
Okay.
7. Okay, I
Uh,
got a 9 cunning,
he's
so did it.
he's speaking. He's speaking in a language that
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Ah,
recognize.
okay. Can
It's
I at least try to memorize the words he says or some of the words he says, even though I don't know the language?
Yeah, I mean you've
Okay.
because he repeats it over and over. So yes, you would. Your
Okay.
cunning check.
Okay.
You're taking this in, and you realize he is slightly smiling as
Mm-hmm.
he whispers this. It's probably two words over and over.
Okay.
Um, he might even attempts to reach up with a shaky, pathetic hand and
Mm-hmm.
maybe grab your arm or tap your arm where you were administering this
Mm-hmm.
water rag.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, Out of the corner of your eye, as you're trying to take this in, you see that the attendant is kind of waving you over,
Oh,
and
okay.
standing beside the attendant is the Queen's Ranger record keeper. He's got obviously a quill, and
Okay.
and you're seeing all of this, of course, as you race around the camp here, Thariah, and you've definitely got the hospitality tent is they're dropping the walls of the tent, so they're dropping down the walls, and 3 or 4 of these attendants of these would be the cook and the wait staff, whatever. They're actually with brooms, kind of running around the area trying to shoo you away.
No, they're brave.
Right,
Yeah.
so you're seeing all this scuttle, and you don't have a clue, of course, Malleus, what it's about, but you see these people are, and the tent. All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, you see the walls of the hospitality breakfast. What do you call it? What do they call it in the military? The
Hospitality. Yeah,
where
they
you
just
eat.
drop. Yeah.
What do they call it?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
mess hall.
Canteen.
The mess hall, right?
That's all?
They're
Okay,
dropping
yeah.
those walls of that, right? And
Mhm.
you maybe pick up the odor a little bit. It's hard, Malleus, for you to tell. This is an infirmary with a couple of very sick people.
Yeah.
It kind of stinks anyway, but you might
Oh,
be picking
wow.
up a new,
Okay.
fresh kind of odor of a
Oh
skunk.
dear.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Now think about
Right.
Shig.
and so
Memories.
yes, right. So the attendant waves you over,
Okay.
and he says, "If you could please tell us who you believe this man is, and
One.
what is his legacy?" And then he'll bow away, and he'll go back to attending the gentleman. He conspicuously doesn't tend your
To him.
friend, and he doesn't
Yeah.
tend the person that's outside the tent boundaries, vomiting and very sick.
Oh my
He's tending
gosh.
only the Queen's Rangers.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. One other thing, Jason.
Yep.
As supposedly, uh, Henro, as he is, his arms were flailing about a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice if he was wearing any types of rings or anything. Was he?
No, he.
Nothing. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
the only thing about this person of note is this scar that clearly was
Scar.
cleaved with an axe or something at some point.
Okay.
The fact that he is incredibly emaciated, 90 pounds, dying, and he's feverish and sick, obviously.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah.
But
Okay.
however, nothing to identify him. No necklaces, no clothes
Nothing.
that would be
Okay.
obviously. Again, his upper body is nude. His legs may be trousered. He may have trousers, but you can't see him under the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, now this administrator asks, so who do you believe this man is? What is his legacy?
I shake my head and I say, I'm afraid I was mistaken. I say the only legacy he has apparently is that at death's door from the looks of him. And I point towards the attendant
Yeah.
there and I say, why is he not being given any care? He's wasting away before our eyes.
Well, he was discovered. The Queen's Rangers. He said, the reason we ask is he was a slave to a darkling prince. The Queen's Rangers.
Oh wow.
He was rescued from this camp as the Queen's Rangers destroyed this darkling settlement. He was a slave pet to the darkling prince, and we would like to know who he is. He outside of that, we aren't certain what's wrong with him. Outside of the fact that he has clearly not been fed, and he has clearly survived on scraps for a long time. But as far as what ails him, we do not yet know. Nor the other gentleman who was unaffiliated, the one that's he kind of nods in the direction of the one that that is set outside very soon, because we believe he may have an infectious disease, but we aren't certain of the the uh, uh, the one we rescued from the Darklings.
Was he a prisoner of the Darknings as well? The one who was ill?
No, no,
Okay.
he was one of the attendants here.
Oh,
At
okay.
the he was one of the servers here at the mess hall.
Okay, I understand. Okay. I kind of shrug, and I can think of no reason why uh I shouldn't tell this attendant here, this ranger here, um who this man is, who I believe he probably is, considering that he more than likely won't be amongst the living too much longer anyway. So I will say I believe him to be a Sir Henro, but that is all I know, unfortunately.
Sir
Um,
Henro.
he has
Uh,
been lost.
so he scribbles this down, Sir Henro. Well, what do you know of what do you know of this Sir Henro? What do you know of what would make you think he is? And
By his appearance, the scar upon his face, and
ah,
other than him being having been uh, lost to our record keeping for some time now, and you
okay,
did say he was a slave of the Darklings, which would make sense.
yes, yes, the only slave of this particular settlement that we at least that we found alive.
And I would say that if it is within your power, it may behoove you to give him the medical care he seeks and attempt to save his
Oh,
life, or he may.
we will do that anyway. I think the attendants want to make sure this what is ailing him is not what is ailing the other. We must be careful with infectious disease, of course, here. But yes, we will take care of him. He thanks you, of course. He makes note of the scar. He makes note that you believe he's a knight named Hinro, right?
Mhm.
Um, Aside from that, he doesn't. Do you know of living relatives? I mean, do you know? Uh, I mean, what
I
brings you here? Did you just recognize him? What brings you here to him?
I I have been I've heard tales of his heroics, and that telltale scar upon his face
Hmm.
could was only a clue to the possibility. But I shrug and I say
Hmm.
I merely, I am not 100% certain. It is merely just a hunch of mine.
Ah, well, he certainly speaks the Darkling speech. He
That's what he was speaking.
he
Okay.
wakes up in fevers in the night, crying these same my one of the Queen's Rangers who understand some of the speech say he's crying for his master, as he will probably die from
Oh,
the missing of his master
that's
before he
terrible.
dies from his condition.
His
Um,
Darkling Master?
yes, they tend to become inseparable from their Darkling Prince. Yes,
I shake my
let's
head.
hope he can be saved and be sane. But it would be nice to be able to record this and find out. We would then have
Wow.
answers to what happened to him, if indeed he is who you say he is. But he thanks you, and meanwhile, Dell, you need to make a vigilance check here as you're racing around, the camp, etc., etc.
Yeah, you got to be all spent by this time, buddy.
Vigilance, no
All
modifier.
right, I got it.
Oh, you
Great.
got it. So as you're racing through again, they're swinging brooms, they're pitching stones, right? And you've managed to
Yeah.
avoid through your vigilance, you're avoiding potential traps, but just traps of racing through a human,
Yeah.
establishment, right? Fire pits and things like that. You're managing to
Mm,
dodge these things. He dismisses himself, Malleus, from you, taking
hmm
these records. he goes over to
Mm-hmm.
one of the attendants that's not currently tending and at some point you see him look up and he yells out to the people scrambling around, "Leave that skunk alone, you fools! You're only making it worse!" He screams to them, and then he says something to the other attendant, and he immediately tends Henro, pulling his wool blanket up over him and giving him some water. They are now tending the knight,
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
and they don't seem to be concerned about who you are, or
Mm-hmm.
so they don't seem to pay you much heed, right?
Okay. That I will take my leave then. At that point,
Okay.
time for me to to
Um,
get out of there and go back over to where young
Bonner.
what's his name, Dale? Yeah, when
Yeah.
young Bonner is, and ask him where Thoriah is. It's time to go.
Right. And Thariah, you obviously, as you race around, you can see him exit the infirmary into the bush, into the trees. Bonner looks around, saying, "There, see that rodent? That is my master."
I've never did. He has to be joking.
Oh man!
But anyway, I get back
shake
in
my
there
head.
and turn back, and then I'll rejoin them in due course. But
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah.
keep him as ignorant as he willfully is.
I wrinkle my nose and say, "Yes, perhaps it's time for us to, if we have time to head back. If it's not too late."
Oh, I wanted to stink up the barracks as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's only about 10 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
All
right.
So this Hulse led you to believe that it was the forward camp into the Davakar, the Bright Davakar.
Yes.
A day and a half journey. This is not
Yeah.
that camp. So this was the initial camp going in. So
Going
either
in,
he
right.
was shipped down here, or Hulse's agent or whatever might have
Something's
not
not
understood
quite-
he was this close to Thistlehold.
Yeah.
Right?
Something's not quite. Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
But definitely this is not the forward camp north that Hulse thought it was a day and a half journey.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
But again, Hulse may not have had all the right information, but
How many
definitely,
men with dark hair?
something didn't jive with the fact
Mhm.
that here he is when you thought he was a day
Mhm.
and a half into the right Davakar.
Mhm.
So again, you're only about an hour or so out of Thistlehold, hour and a half out of
Okay.
Thistlehold.
Okay. What would be the standard way of getting in contact with Hulse? Would I have to
Carrier
put him
pigeon.
Yeah, it's going to be because he travels all over the
Yeah.
Corinth. That would be difficult. The only time you've ever seen him is when he's delivered something to you.
Okay.
But you could certainly ask around Thistlehold. He's an independent contractor. He does, he isn't working for a service or anything. He is.
Are his bodyguards always with him, or
Yes.
are they just with him while he's at?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you sent him multiple times, so he's bound to come back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He
but
assured you
it could
he
be
would.
a week. It could be. Yeah.
Right. But he may not have left Thistlehold yet either. You don't.
That's true.
Right.
That's true as well.
Right.
I will lead us back to the apartment.
Okay.
And I will toss Honor some coin and instruct him to get something for our lunch.
Okay.
And then I let Thariah know that I will see if I can I need to see if I can talk to meet a contact of mine. I'll be back shortly.
Okay.
Okay. I'll tell you that I'm going to take my repose up on the hill again.
Are you
know
just
what I
going to
mean?
leave? Okay, you're going to go back there? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, I'm getting back over the knoll and sit there and
Okay.
meditate a while.
So
underneath the tree.
Bonner greedily takes the coin and races off into the maybe to his favorite restaurant tavern to get food, right?
Okay. Yeah.
He tells you he will be right back, right?
Okay.
So
All right.
what is it you wanted to do? You're gonna go.
If I can if
Now
there
you
would
should
be...
have as part of your characters. You should have a contact as part of your characters traits, right? You should have a contact.
Yes. That yeah. The only as far as detail we went as far as that goes with that, it would be that it would have been either a former or current member of the Queen's Army.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only stipulation that I've got written down here so
Okay.
far.
Okay.
That's Henro.
Hmm?
It would be Henro right now. You adopt him as a contact.
No, I mean you can actually
Is it current name?
you can. I'm just saying you would have a you now have another one in Hinro for what it's worth, right?
Can Henro?
You have, but you would definitely have a Queen's Army contact, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and in the first episode, you guys made a contact of the captain of the Queen's Rangers you ran into in the Davakar.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't remember his name offhand. I'd have to look up in my notes. But he should have gone on everybody's list as a contact. Plus,
as
you
a contact.
have. Mm-hmm.
I think he would probably be a good someone possibly to look up because he would probably. Well, Henro will probably know too. Basically, the best way to. I have no idea even where Holst would even like.
He's in town. He's probably getting some business to be able to go to the next town to carry messages.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be somewhere where maybe, if not necessarily nobility or the upper echelon, what kind of?
Yeah, I mean the Queen's legation.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the Queen's legation sends lots of messages and all over the. It would be. I would assume. Mostly. Would be the Queen's legation, and then there'd be individual people that are sending important messages, but obviously the Queen's legation would be sending the most actual government missives.
Yeah,
which is which is really not too far from this townhome. On the map of Thistlehold, right, roughly. On the map of Thistlehold, this townhome is in 26, which is the town seat.
Mm-hmm.
Along that street is where your townhome is, and of course the Queen's legation is found. Let's see, 36 on the map in the book, which is page 43.
Page 43. Okay.
36. You can see is that long street that winds into the large open area on the left-hand side. That is the Queen's Square. The Queen's legation is. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Where's Queen's legation? I was looking at the wrong one. 29 is the Queen's legation, which is.
29.
Which is. Oh shoot, I can't see it on here. 29. Queen's legation is. It's not far though. It's like right around the corner.
It's not okay.
I saw it.
Right.
I can't.
I'm
see
looking
it on the map.
now. I'm looking now.
Yeah, so it's actually again, 26 is roughly where the townhome is on the map, which is around that right in the middle there.
Yeah.
So that just the biggest street there south of 26 goes past one down there near the park there. 27 is Nighthorn, which is the. So 29 is the Queen's legation area. So you're not far. You're a few blocks.
Okay. All right. I'll head that way then. So I'll head down that southwestern street.
Okay. Again, crowded, hustle and bustle going on. As you enter the Queen's legate, the street the Queen's legation is on. Of course, there's lots of clients lined up to get audience with the Queen of Thistlehold, Soraya. I won't know how your character personally feels, but her father, who lives in the upper story of this complex, is the one who brought about the investigation and the destruction of Black. He's the one that prosecuted you ultimately.
Right, basically, yeah.
Right. So you probably don't like this guy a whole lot. And his daughter obviously is the one who runs the Queen's legation, but he's known to bully her. right?
Yeah, he's an influence, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh,
As
is
you
there?
approach, you'll see a line of clients waiting, um,
Yeah,
basically to get in to
for
have
audience,
audience, right?
gain audience.
Yeah.
Do I see any other squires or pages or
Yes.
anything
Oh
like that
yeah.
about?
Yep. Yep. Now,
Okay.
if you don't know if any of them know now, as far as couriers, runners,
Yeah.
yes, you can stop one of these attendants who might,
Well,
right.
uh, uh, Holst is quite well known, so
Yes.
I'm hoping that they will. If I bring him up by mention him by name, someone will say,
Hmm.
"Oh yes, yes," because
Yes.
he's yeah.
So
So
you're just walking through here saying, "Where's Holtz? Where's Holtz?"
no, 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 no. I'll see if I can find like a page or someone like that
Right.
who has somewhat of an official capacity here,
Yeah.
and I will inquire with them because I do not want to stand here and wait. I do not need to stand here and wait in line,
Yeah.
for what I
He
need.
stands somewhat bemused, um,
Mm-hmm.
looking at you as you ask him, page Holtz, find Holtz. Um,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat bemused, and then you realize that he's got his palm up. I don't do this for nothing, right? As you're
Okay.
like, what? Go do what I told you to, and then it's like you look down and see he's holding his palm up, right?
Okay. Okay. All right. Wow, I don't even know I guess I will just what should I give him? I guess I will just give him
No, you.
yeah. Right. I'll give him
Give him
maybe
that old IOU that Rigel gave
a
you.
few shillings, I guess. Jason,
Yeah, right. Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
shillings. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll
So
give him a couple shillings. I'll go with
he
that. See how
snaps
that
them
goes.
up. He snaps them up. Fist closes around a couple of shillings, and then
Hmm.
he's off running through the crowds, and you hear him barking, Hulse, Squire Hulse, Hulse, Squire Hulse, and
Okay.
then he kind
Uh,
of disappears, and you can hear over the throng of the crowds, etc. You can't hear it.
mm,
As you wait around, you see individuals. Some come out of the Queen's legation, happy. Some of these clients, a few minutes later, come out. Some are angry and
ooh.
cursing,
Yeah.
and some come
Yeah.
out with signed documents. Some come out, throwing their hands in the air. Some get what they want from the Queen's legation. Some are not
Mm-hmm.
getting what they want. But the
Mm-hmm.
little line of clients waiting slowly moves. Yet more people show up at the end of the line.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes. You feel a tap on your shoulder, gets your attention, and it is the page that you've
Mm-hmm.
paid. And he says, "Yes, he is waiting for he is waiting for uh, uh, well, he is in attendance, waiting for someone else to give him documents that he needs to deliver." And he kind of waves down the street and tells you what business that he is at.
Ah.
Uh,
Okay. All right.
and you know that's another couple of blocks through the crowds.
Okay. All right. All right. I will turn on my heel immediately and head in that direction.
Okay. Now, Dell, what are you doing out here on the hill? Meditating? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually eating some of the putrefied fruit off the tree. It didn't seem like I didn't go after the thalers. I wasn't interested. I mean, Malleus would have noted that. Like, I haven't asked him for anything.
Okay.
So I'm subsisting off, just the environment,
Okay.
as it were. And at this time, I'm looking not at my watch, but looking at the sun, and wondering where the boy Bonner is.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously got caught up, but I'm thinking, why isn't he back? Where is he at? Slight irritation kind of creeps in.
Right.
From
Make
earlier
a make a +2 cunning check for me.
okay. No, failed. That was a 15.
Okay.
I rolled 19.
Okay. So,
So I'm blinded by my frustration.
right, as far as your mind is on where's the boy, uh,
Yeah.
uh, but there was something when you didn't pick it up when you were in the presence of Malleus when you traveled back, but there's something clearly calmer in your spirit since leaving Malleus.
Okay. I've realized that that's probably what propelled me. In fact, I had been thinking too that that might be barking up the wrong tree, as it were, to get him where I first thought he might be, uh, of the ilk that I needed to gather him into the fold. He seems to be more, and that would have been a breakaway point when he was more interested about going to get the rest of the thalers or, whatnot, that his interest isn't, in line with mine.
Okay.
So anyway, in the calm, maybe is just realizing that as well. I may think.
Okay. Right.
But anyway.
If that's what was disturbing your energy, right? Hard to say.
Yeah,
right? Especially now that you're up on your hill, enjoying Mother Nature.
Yeah.
It might just be Mother Nature that's more calming to you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So Malleus, you first see the two bodyguards outside of this establishment. It's a tavern. And they're standing outside this tavern, Malleus, in the street. You see them before. Obviously, you don't see Hulse around outside here, but you do see them standing in the street. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will stride up to the two of them, and I will say, lads, where is your employer? I need to speak with him right away.
I can never remember his name. Reggae. Relog. I can't
Where's
say
it.
it.
Yeah.
I got Real gay or real
guy?
Real gay says
Tim.
he's in the tavern waiting for the package.
Okay, all right.
So as you enter the tavern, again it's pretty early, right? It's not quite lunch. There might be some people in here, but it's pretty much quiet, right? It's not a lot going on. This is maybe evening. Late afternoon, evening, with things would pick up around here. But you do see Hulse, and he is sitting at a table, and he is tapping his fingers. He seems a little, impatient. He notices you as you come in, and scoots his chair back and stands, and heads towards you as he can see you're clearly looking at him. So he responds to this, and he approaches.
Okay.
Malleus.
I stride up to him, and I'll say, what kind of fool's errand did you send me on?
Fool's errand? No. I asked you to identify whether this was true, this rumor of Hinro.
I say, I saw one who appeared to be your knight's master, and I'll say that he was within a hair's breadth of death, lying there.
And he reaches out and actually grabs your arms. His face. He is. You have been there. You've seen him. You've identified him, and he's kind of in disbelief. He can't believe it. You could not have even gotten to the forward camp.
I look down.
Why do you lie to me, Malleus? For 10 thaler.
Yeah. Don't remind me. His grasping hands, then look back at him, and I'll say, you speak of lying. He was not even a morning's distance away from Thistlehold. I say he was at a ranger encampment, yes, but not within bright Davakar. He was on the very edge of Davakar.
Then my information was wrong. But you're saying he is at the staging area, and as he pulls his hands away from you and he looks down, he looks back up and he says, uh, he, and he fumbles around, pulls out his purse, and he hastily counts out. It gets to about 7, and then he just kind of pours thalers into your hand. He gives you maybe 12 or 15, right? He owed you 10, and
Okay.
he yells back, "Mariano, I will return later." And he looks at you and says, "You say he's at the staging camp."
I nod and I say, but I was told there that until recently, he was being held a prisoner at a darkling of a. He was the prisoner of a darkling. What was it? A darkling prince or a
Mhm.
darkling?
Yeah, his
Yeah, darkling prince.
he nods, and his eyes well with tears.
Hmm.
The last time I saw him was 8 years ago when the Darklings destroyed
I'll
us, and I
I'll
escaped.
sh-
I'm the only survivor, and he was taken.
I'll shake my head and I'll say, I can only imagine the terrors that he witnessed being a thrall of the Darklings, and I say, as I said, he appeared to be at death's door.
Well, then I will do all I can to rescue him. And he wipes his face.
Hmm.
You have done more for me in this simple morning than you can imagine. And he shakes your hand. If you present it, he'll present his hand. He shakes your hand,
Okay, that's fine.
and he says, you have saved my master, and no, you have helped me uh, maybe save my master and a great man." And
Hmm.
again, Mariano comes out and says, "Wait, man, I have the package." And he says, "I will be back later." And he's out the door to the tavern,
He rushes out.
leaving you
Okay.
standing there. And Mariano looks at you and says, "We are not open yet. Out, out, out."
Okay. I'll stride out, carefully placing the coins in my coin purse,
Yeah,
and then
and
giving it a
it's
pat.
about 17. He gave you about 7 more than he owed you in his
Okay.
haste to dump it in your right. And as you get out, you see Hulse talking to his bodyguards, and
Hmm.
they're almost in a trot, like a 3/4 time trot down the street. So it appears as if he is going directly there
Oh
with his
wow.
bodyguards,
Okay.
right? Okay.
Okay. All right. At that, I will head back to the. I keep calling it a different thing every time. To the villa, to the apartment, to the
Yeah, yeah. In
to
the
the
book, they
He
call them
understands it's
apartments,
his
but
check.
I'm calling it a townhouse because
to the
but
townhouse.
it's
Yes.
basically yeah, right. And yes, okay. So return there,
Or
and
lean to.
Bonner is out front of the townhouse, and he appears to have
Yes.
eaten most of the food you sent him to get.
Ah,
All right, but
Bonner.
he has he quickly gives you what he's got left of
Crumbs, huh?
yeah,
Scraps.
crumbs, etc. Um, and Bonner
Okay.
says, "Where is Thorea?"
I shrug and I say, "That's not my master. He's your master."
You mean he's
How
not
do
with
I
you?
know?
He's not here. I knocked and
Oh.
knocked. Ah, and he says, then I must return to my master." And he nods, hands you hastily what he has left of the food he's been
Hmm.
eating, obviously, and then he's off, headed for the south gate. You can see him down the street, headed off for the
Probably
south
back
gate.
towards the hill, toward the
Yeah,
hillock. Okay.
he can't leave his master unattended, right? His.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So Malleus will, you'll see him kind of shaking his head as he closes the door behind him,
Right.
and as he plops down on the table once again and
Make
pulls out, I guess. Okay. Hmm.
once you settle down and kind of relax and take it
Uh
in.
huh.
You're eating what food he's left you. Make
Hmm.
a vigilance check here.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's
straight
see.
vigilance check, no modifier.
Okay, that's not bad. I'm not too bad at this. So let's see how vigilance goes. No, 16. Needed a
Okay.
10. Okay.
For a brief moment, you think you hear something, and then
Okay.
you kind of shake it off.
Okay.
As
Uh,
rodents, probably rodents,
yeah.
rats, something, right? Could be
Okay.
a neighbor or something banging around.
Okay. That's fine. He'll pour what little wine he has left there in a cup and sip that while looking at the letter again.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So let's end there. We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes, so let's stop there.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Dale.
I would just whenever Bonner gets back, I will forego the massage or whatever. But I'll tell him I'll release the pits of the fruit from the tree and some other random seeds that I picked up throughout the journey.
Yeah.
And I'm getting him to plant them in the moonlight.
Okay.
As I sit, just lean up against the tree that is there and sigh relief and glare, just wistfully look off at the moon as Bonner digs and plants around me.
Looks up
on the hill.
On his third seedling, third nut in the ground, his third seed. He looks up as the sun sets. Now, what again is this supposed to teach me, sir? How will this help me change into a skunk or a bird?
You, as the seed, will grow.
Do I have to plant them all to learn this lesson, sir?
Just as this tree. The more you plant, the more you grow. And then I'll close my eyes and just tune him out as I try to drift off to sleep.
As the sun sets upon Thistlehold and the Davokar? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's 3 experience, gentlemen. All right.
Okay,
You'll gain 3 experience for this.
Okay.
Good choice there, David. I only prepared about 3 different things that. I mean, you could have done whatever you guys wanted to do, but I had maybe 3.
Yeah.
The missive is a hell of a lot more dangerous, and it would have been a much.
Oh yeah, I figured.
Just the journey alone, 24 days. 24 days to get to Carol Spring.
No, we weren't ready. We weren't ready for that.
So good choice. Yeah, very cool, very fun. Any feedback? Did you guys have fun? Any feedback?
Oh yeah, definitely have fun. Enjoy Dell's new character, but like I said, all those magic types are all the same.
Yeah, they're no good. Magic is no good.
Nah, they're no good. They're no good.
Yeah, I find it interesting because I really didn't decide who to be until like an hour before. I was doing all kind of different things, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do the character."
Right.
And so I started reading and compressing all this information.
Yeah.
And really got up and just started. But it's definitely interesting. And like I said before about the worldviews of how they interpret corruption.
Yeah.
And where they're positioned, and why is this going on, and even like the iron. Why these guys would have been driven out, because the temple is deep into the dark Davokar. So why is he coming out?
Right.
But it's still a monastery, like a monk-like monastery.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be like the kung fu guy, David Carradine or whatever.
Right.
So I'm kind of building him as we go, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to understand him in the first setting.
Right.
So I'm sure it's at least enough flavor for the different races and sects and factions that are all in the world.
Yeah,
you can kind of go, what drives these guys, and why would they even be crossed? Even when David and I was trying to figure out what would motivate them to be together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, or even doing this, and like, why am I down there?
Right.
Yeah. Kind of lingering on the outskirts of this village.
Yeah.
But I'll fully figure that out. But it's to get converts or to people that are willing to come in there, like I said, because of what had occurred in this new, corruption that had happened in the last episode, is just like level things up from yellow to red as far as my order, views things.
Yeah.
So it's going to make me, I reckon, more liable to work outside of. I can't be cherry picking right now. I need all the fresh bodies I can to get, you know what I mean? Or I can rely myself with anybody just to get by.
Sure.
So that's what I'm seeing him. Otherwise, I probably would have picked him to play.
Gotcha. Right. So so you're supposed to be recruiting down at Thistlehold, not hanging out on the hillside.
Oh yeah, but it's you're right, but
It's
I'll
kind of
go
like
in
my
there, but
clients that
it's
say,
not.
I want to get stronger. Well, you got to lift weights. You can't,
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
got to
that's
work
where I
at it.
thought I figured maybe I'd get David in on the game. Malleus in
See,
on the game, but
so
he's too
Tharia
much
Uh-huh.
like his name.
just expects them to come to the Sermon on the Mount, right? You just expect them to show up at the base of your hill and follow.
Oh no, but
She started doing
that's
Tai
what
Chi, huh? Right there.
no, but that's what's difficult about it because I am a changeling, and
Right.
the stigma of changeling,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's like being trying to get uh, people to come in, but I'm
Right.
not the one
Hmm.
that would be at the forefront of that push.
Right.
But that's how desperate the clan has gotten
That's right.
because
Yeah.
when I'm describing a changeling,
Yeah.
he's not going to be somebody that he's going to be more like a leopard that comes in. But I've got this boy
Yeah.
that I've did this, and this is what to me when I'm talking even Malleus. Like Malleus is wanting to utilize me, but I'm thinking at least lying to myself
Mm-hmm.
for the situation that I can bring him on board. And then I see that he's real, but I see him also as corrupting influence toward. I'm starting to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he's feeding the apple or doing this and that to the only, you know what I mean?
Right.
The only
To your
person I've managed to
yeah.
pull on board right now. It's not
Well,
comical to him. It's just
Malleus
like,
has a thing
Right. Right.
for Malleus has a thing for authority anyway.
Right.
So he knows he's doing that, but he doesn't know if there's going to be really. I guess maybe he doesn't take your the hierarchy or the relationship that you guys have too seriously,
Right.
because he's the only dealings he's had with a magical being or mage, was poor Shig,
Right.
and
Right.
Shig was really kind of like, you didn't know if he was coming or going half the
Right.
time. So
yeah.
Malleus, he doesn't really respect magic, but he doesn't really trust magic. So he's kind
Right.
of in a weird spot.
Well,
about it.
yeah, but you'll see from me that I've always very cautious about it. It's like I know that it's out there, and I'm turning a blind eye to a lot, trying
Yeah.
to reach. I'm really at the bottom of the barrel as far as what fresh recruits I can pick from. And the fact is that you are against corruption. I'm really focusing on that's a big bright spot that well, at least we have that in common. It's like I'm used to doing
Yeah.
that with Iron Pack because they don't have ultimately the same thing, but we got a common enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So at least your
Oh, yeah,
philosophy
yeah.
against corruption, and I'm going like, this is how you maintain it. We know we got to face it,
Mm-hmm.
but my view is the more you allow yourself to be chaotic, the more you bring in corruption, which corrupts you, and you can't fight the corruption. So there's a balance. I'm trying to ride on that cusp of controlling it to actually get to it. It's like fighting fire by fire, but we're in a fire retardant suit.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
it,
But
yeah.
a lot of that I channel that to the staff. So it's an interesting character. And even in this first setting, I could see that, like, if I didn't have to deal nothing but with Malleus, and then that's why I thought throwing in a servant slash,
Sure.
would be something that I would have to, that would interpose me between the party and there, and it would keep me off kilter.
Right.
So that's just another challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at least we got to deal with.
Well, it's always hard to
character
introduce
development.
a new character, to a established group, so to speak, right? Unless it is unless it's an easy description of another warrior joining into the group or etc. It's always more difficult to introduce a character with a I mean that's
it's more generic.
yeah, I mean
and vanilla,
obviously it'll take time for there to be a kind of a
but these are dark times, and
right.
this is what
right.
allows me to bring in a character that wouldn't necessarily.
Yeah, I mean the hard part
be in
about
the same
character
mix.
motivation. I mean when you're doing a game like D&D or something like a Symbaroum, I suppose. Once a campaign's going, and you kind of have this idea of what it is the group itself is motivated to do together, right? I mean, one of the things it mentions in the book, is ask all the players as characters to come to. Why are you all doing this thing together? What's your
Yeah.
common goal?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own. Like his goal was to become, famous, and they'll write poetry about him, and they'll sing songs about him. So Taro's experiences, before he left, the mountains to become when he left being a ranger to become a treasure hunter and make his renown, he's worse off now than he was before he left the mountains. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for Taro, it's
yeah.
like, shit, they're not going to sing songs about me, man. I'm,
Right.
how did this happen? How did I take 4 steps back? So Taro, of course, so you can make sense of your character's individual motivations, but then the grander motivations, right, in the group are what is the shared goal of the group, and that's
Of the group. Yeah.
sometimes that's harder to do, especially when we're switching GM receipts too, right? Right. I mean, I don't think you have to. I don't think there has to be a group's motivation. You can have individual character. You just got to dig deep. Where's the character? Why would Thoria be involved with this group of guys, right? That's the tough.
Well, I said it at that moment whenever I said I was talking to Malleus, and I looked off in the distance at the Davicar, and I said she awakens. Like the Davicar, that's my whole sect is trying to keep the Davicar from waking and push back on it. So basically, it's letting you know that I came out to find recruits to go back in there and fight.
That's right. That's
light.
There you are.
And
that's it.
And Malleus
I'm having to make concessions.
So that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And if Malleus thinks that Thoria wants to recruit him or others, he'll go along with that because he feels that having someone with Thoria's skill set is a necessary thing.
That's right.
In order to, so.
Yeah, I mean,
that's his kind of.
It's the old, what do you bring to the team?
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is what Taro does. This is what do you bring into the table here, buddy? Right. Right. And that's what the great thing about role playing, man. We get to see all these different characters and why do they do it? Why don't they do it? I mean, that for me, that's part of the play. Being a player in a role playing game, that's part of the joy. I mean,
I agree. It is tougher when you have a rotating GMs. It is tougher.
Yeah, I don't know if it's tougher. I just don't know if we're gonna have I don't know if you're always gonna have a sense that there's a grand campaign, right?
Well, that's what I mean, and that sense is that you kind of have to switch gears to at certain points because. Well, you're nice enough to kind of give us a synopsis of kind of what, to kind of put us in the right mindset. I don't do that. I should think about doing that. I think that's a really good idea. No, that's a good idea. Though,
well, I like to give everybody a setup, like, kind of what's happening, where you're at, and why. But but you certainly don't have to. I mean, it can be it can be done with one sentence. You guys are, I could have with one sentence said, you guys are, this is what I wanted to. And for me, honestly, when Del, again, I don't even know what possessed Del to say Reigel's vanished, but when he did, I went, okay, there's fallout. There has to be fallout from this very successful businessman who's employing all of these, who is a sponsor for all of these adventure groups. And clearly, he was not paying. And I thought this is amazing. It's going to make total sense in relationship to the battle between Blackmoor and Thistlehold. So. And it perfectly connected the dots for me. What's the fallout from Rigel not being there to keep them from investigating this stuff, right? Think about it. Rigel was probably paying bribes. And the minute Rigel's gone, he's no longer paying those bribes. So the authorities are going to come in. They're going to confiscate his stuff. They're going to...
Yeah.
So I said, this is perfect. It's putting us... But there has to be consequences for all of us. And I think in the first session, at one point, I think it might have been Justin that said, "Is this a forged document? Are these legit documents?"
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever actually checked the documents.
No, we didn't. No.
But if somebody would have said, "I want to scrutinize these documents," I would have said, "Make a roll," and you would have been able to discover that you're using forged. You're using totally fake documents, but which wouldn't have. Matter of fact, I think you ran into the Queen's Rangers and they looked over your documents and. Failed. I think they failed to. I can't remember. Somebody made a roll.
No, they
failed to recognize they were forged documents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
that's it would have on your cap though, Jason.
Yeah, it would have never come back to bite you on the arse.
Yeah,
except Rigel vanished. It's like, oh, this is great.
You see, that's I mean, not to be overly sharing, but I mean, and he could have been doing forged documents. He was planted there because, I mean, in the book they have ill goblins, and he
Mm-hmm.
was being used.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
he was kind of set up in a position, but
Mm-hmm.
he had a master, as it was,
Mm-hmm.
and that was to find, since he was sending out relic hunters, was to find a certain artifact, which
Mm-hmm.
is what eventually happened on that mesa that you guys
Right.
brought back. So then
Yeah.
he was taking it back to his
Yep.
master. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then that's why he was set up
Yeah.
there. So he was doing it either.
And that's what's been so kind of fascinating about sharing the GM role, because Dell's drawing on the lore, I'm drawing on the lore, and yet we're tied to this kind of,
Yeah,
and
this foundation.
Right, and what it's doing though is there's this. I'm creating this kind of idea of a link between Rigel, Blackmoor, the Queen's Legation. Dell's bringing artifacts back for the Ill Goblin. It's like it actually is all tying together without none of us discussing it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
guys have much,
he's
you guys
gone.
have
Nobody
much
can.
grander plans than I do. I'll just throw that. Yeah.
Right.
I
So
think I'm Mr. Seat of the Pants here.
And for me, I'm a firm believer. All that matters, and I've said this before, all that matters in literature, in film, in great mythology, storytelling, gaming is conflict. Conflict is that's all you have to have. So this, by limiting you, making you in a way, if you want to go into the Davokar, there's nothing to stop you. But the conflict is, it's more dangerous for you if you're just stopped by Queen's Rangers. Right. There's consequences. What can that right? So, the goal is just to create conflict without handicapping the players. Right. There's got to be some conflict, and you have to make tough decisions. Do I go into the Davokar or do I not? Do I do something else?
Right.
And so, I mean, you didn't have to even look for this guy, right? That Hall says that's just like, hey, could you please help me? But you guys could have chosen to do whatever you wanted to, and it would have been very easy to create a session from that. But the conflict is what makes it all worth doing, right? And the conflict doesn't have to be combat; it can just be conflicted. Yeah. As Dell's conflicted, I got to go into the Davokar, but I got to recruit people, but I got to that's a conflict, right? That's that internal conflict, right? Yeah. Malleus is clearly dealing with the fact that he's been. I mean, you describe him being drunk and grouchy. I mean, clearly Malleus is affected by the fallout.
Yeah, we were on top of our game for a hot second there.
Yeah,
I mean, everything came crashing down.
Right, and thank God. Right, and thank God you have the Chamberlain, because when I originally sat down to make sense of, so originally I sat down and said, okay, there's got to be fallout from this. You've been in trouble. You're going to be fined so many thalers. And then I said, nah, I don't want to be messing around with, okay, everybody owes 300 thalers, And I said, well, you've got the Chamberlain. The Chamberlain would pay all this. You're broke. You're dead broke. But at least you're even, right? The Chamberlain's paid your fines and your taxes. And so I thought, how can I present this where it puts you under the gun to work? The conflict again, that you have no means, right?
Well, and that's player buy-in, because I realize this, and I go, well, what, Malleus, knowing what he knows and the type of person that he is, he's got to eat, he's got to survive some kind of way.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So how would this affect him, and then what does he need to do about it?
Right.
He's got a delivery boy saying, hey, I'll do this job for me for 20 $20.
Right. And, how far the mighty have fallen. Don't you know who I am? I rescued the Chamberlain's grandkids. Don't you know who I am?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, and it's kind of like, okay, to me, that's just building character. That's what I call that.
Oh, and I love it. Because right.
Yeah. All of this is humbling him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really know. He's kind of living in the moment right now because he has to. He's desperate.
Right.
So some of the things that he does and some of the things that he says can obviously come back and bite him in the ass later on. But he's got to do what he's got to do right now. So there you go. And I like that because it makes sense. It's fun
and it's real. It's real.
and it's real. Yeah,
Yeah, characters. Not only should your character affect the world, but the world should affect the character.
yeah, yeah.
And stuff that happens outside the control of your character, like this investigation, because you used forged documents.
Mm-hmm.
That's the price you pay for not verifying the
Yeah.
documents or not getting a legitimate, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
it is, and it only happened because Dell said Reigel's gone. It's like, oh shit, this
I
is
know,
interesting,
it's-
you know?
so this is Dale's fault.
Yeah,
Well, no, it's your fault actually because you started it.
don't blame me.
When you, no, I'm talking about David.
Oh, yeah, it's David's fault.
No,
Good
no.
call.
No, listen. What happened
Oh, yeah.
was when we
But
went
no,
on that
this
murder
time,
mystery.
I'm enjoying it. We'll
When we-
see. I have no idea how long this guy's gonna be around, what's gonna happen with him, but I'm gonna enjoy it for the ride, and
Oh, heck
I
yeah.
am. You know,
It's great fun.
Well,
yeah.
you know when you had the murder victims, the eyes being
So there
removed.
you go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Guys, I'm
Well,
gonna have to go because it's 10:30 here for me.
Oh
Okay,
God, yeah,
so-
that's right. That's right. Well, we'll
Yeah,
chat about this
go.
again. We'll chat about this again.
Okay,
All
all
right.
right.
And,
you guys
okay,
enjoy the rest
guys.
of your week.
I guess David, you're next, right, to run
Yeah, yeah.
Symbaroum.
If you're good, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I'll jump in next.
My missive exists whenever we get around to my
Regardless.
next session, right?
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
So-
that's fine by me.
That's
All
awesome.
right, sounds good.
All right, guys.
All right,
Be
Okay, talk to
safe.
you guys
Have a
later.
great week.
okay.
All right. We'll
All
talk
right.
again.
I'll
Take
see you.
care, guys.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
See you, Dell.
Bye-bye.